my race partner, John, he's an engineer. So we're both, and I work in finance. So we're both very technically minded. It was like the meeting of the nerds, right? So
Right.
when it
Yeah.
came to logistics, we were both like all over it. Now, John was exceptionally talented at the map making. So he pretty much owned
hmm
that. But the way we looked at it and the way we split up our days, it worked perfectly. We nailed it first time. We never thought we would have, but we looked at it as a function of essentially mileage, elevation. We looked at historical wind patterns over the areas to help influence our route. And then we basically also put a penalty for compounding fatigue on the mileage. So when we looked at it, for example, day one, we did 560 kilometers, I think, but it was through France. So it was pretty flat. So you could just go forever. Whereas there was other days, for example, in Albania, with the elevation, with the heat, with our compound fatigue, and with the headwind, it took us all day to do 110 miles. So
hmm
the way we built our maps was we had these characteristics that we would keep in mind. And that's how we kind of built out our days. And we typically had A, B, and C maps or A and B maps. So if something went wrong, we could pivot and either take a new route and try to optimize for whatever had happened. I felt prepared. I felt so prepared.
Yeah.
You should have seen the checklists. Like, I dedicated 2 rooms in my house to just TCR, like, war room. Yeah,
Really?
it was like,
Wow.
because I was so scared, I didn't believe in my capabilities. I knew I was out of my depth. I had people telling me, like my bike mechanic, when I told him I got in, he laughed because he thought I was joking. Like, I knew I was out of my depth. And the way I compensated for that was like over preparedness in like every other aspect of the race. So I
Right.
knew if I was going to go into this, I was not going to fail because of something that was in my direct control. That was the principle I
That's
operated on.
amazing.
If I could plan and prepare and optimize for it, I was going to do it. So I felt prepared,
hmm
other than the fact that I didn't really know how to ride a bike that well.
Minor
Minor
detail.
detail.
um,
Great question. I would say there's 2 standout moments in a positive perspective. So the first one was day one, so getting to that almost 600 kilometer mark. In the first 24 hours of the race, that was something I had just never even thought was possible for me, and to do it and feel relatively okay. On the flats, we were
hmm
pulling 35, 36 kilometers an hour. We were feeling great, and to be able to achieve that, that was really a standout moment for me, and one that will give me confidence probably for the rest of my life, even if I never do it again. And
Yeah.
the second standout moment, I would say, was reaching the first control point in Livigno, Italy. I'm not a
hmm
climber, okay? All of you who go to the Alps and cycle it for fun, like, I don't know what happened to you as a child, but
Lads.
yeah,
Lads.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. So I was reaching the first control point after fighting my way through the Alps and crying every hour on the hour was a remarkable achievement for me, and I was really proud of myself for that. Um,
hmm Yeah.
and then I think that the final standout moment was just as we progressed past Italy into some of these other, perhaps lesser known countries, for me anyways, was seeing how the power of sport can really unite people. We had people in Bosnia and Slovenia come out of their houses who were dot watching and cheer us on, and we had people with pots and pans on the side of the road in the middle of, nowhere, come out and cheer us on. And that was really stand out for me, and it showed that kind of boundary breaking power of sport.